So, welcome to this sit down and eat and have a chat kind of video. So, I actually have a vegan Greek salad in front of me that I made, and I was figuring I'm just gonna sit here and eat and kind of, in honor of the fact that I saw that all these people in Gaza actually was marching to the north, back to their homes. I feel like I want to sit down and, enjoy myself. Something, good, like nutritious, while I kind of, in the same way, just, celebrating the fact that they actually returned back to their homes, even if they're not standing, but they will rebuild. And nobody else can say anything. They're going to rebuild. They are Palestinians, So, yeah. So I actually had like a job interview with this consult company. And it wasn't with the consult company. It was honestly with kind of another company that they kind of fixing some kind of consult too, and it ended up being like some form of, it didn't work because they required somebody who can do configuration and in IT, and I'm not qualified at all to do configurations. I don't even know how on earth they thought that I am qualified, because nowhere in my resume or CV does it say that I do IT configurations. So I don't know how, but I was in an interview with a representative from a company that is fixing consoles to another company, and they were asking me about how confident or secure I feel in doing configurations for a very big IT system in Sweden. And I was like, I don't even do IT configurations. I never done this. This is not my qualifications. And they were like, okay, well, like, how on earth did you get into the interview? And I'm still like, I don't know why they picked me into that interview. I just have no idea, to be honest. So I'm still jobless basically in Sweden. But I want to say that I'm jobless in Sweden, but I think if I was anywhere else on this whole planet, I would have some kind of job. I think so. Because in my area, for example, if I'm comparing to Turkey, there's a lot of people in Turkey, they can sell pomegranate juice on the street. And they can survive on that. People will buy it. It's a good product. There are people to buy it. However, in my area in Sweden, there is no people to buy pomegranate juice, for example. So, I mean, even if I have a good product, there is just not people who's gonna buy it from here. So that's reality of being from Sweden, I think. But I actually been having some kind of thought about going to travel, and for some reason, I don't know why, and I've been to the airport in Athens in Greece, and for some reason, since like end of December, I think, I've been thinking about going to Greece, to Athens, to this place. It's like an old Roman kind of place, Acropolis, I think it's called. I never been there. I don't even know why I want to go there. But I've been thinking about this place for some unknown reason to me. I think, I don't know if it's because when I was in Antalya, one of the previous times when I went travel, I went to amphitheater from very, like Roman time. And we went to some other kind of placement, which was very interesting to see. And we also went to some museum where they had a lot of these very old statues. And I don't know if for some reason it's because of that, or if there's any other reason why I want to go to this Acropolis in Greece. Because I just see this place whenever I'm thinking about where I'm gonna travel. I just see this place in my head. I don't know why. If you've been there, please let me know how it is and if it's something to see, because I don't even know why I want to go there. So I've been posting on this channel recently some kind of budget gardening types of videos, and maybe not all of that content is budget friendly. It really depends on your budget to start with, but I've been posting a bit about it, and it's kind of tied into grow your own food, because as you can see, I eat a lot of vegetables. None of this is from here. I bought all the vegetables, but I am a person who really like to eat vegetables, and here it's kind of snow and not so much fresh available here. You have to buy, and it costs a lot, and it's imported from far away. So I've been posting quite a few such videos. Now I don't even know if I will be staying here full time, because as I said, I'm jobless here. I'm thinking, because I had, before I did surgery in the autumn 2024, I was planning on going to Russia to apply for like a asylum kind of visa there. And that's still on my mind, to be honest. That's still on my mind. I know there is a lot of very interesting options for gardening in Russia. They have a lot of other varieties of like fruit trees and everything comparing to here in Sweden. And it's a good place to actually farm, and just to, if you want to buy fresh vegetables, they have a lot of fresh vegetables there, And not for only that reason, but mainly because they have big cities. And here in Sweden, we kind of lacking big cities. We have Stockholm, and there is maybe Göteborg, but it's not, those are not super big cities, And those cities in Sweden, very difficult to move to, very expensive. Just today in the news, there was a report on how like high income individuals in example Göteborg, and I think even in Stockholm, how they are stuck with high loans and unable to pay back for them, and they end up in trouble with the loan like authorities in Sweden, and they kind of don't know how to get out of the situation, basically. And I think that is a problem in Sweden, and that might be a problem in other places, even in Russia, I don't know. But I think that there is some affordable housing options in big cities in Russia that is lacking in Sweden. Hence, me have problem moving to a big city in Sweden because I don't find housing, basically. And it's nobody else's fault. The only problem to why there's no housing is because there's no new construction for inexpensive housing. So that is the reason. But even if I, for example, would go to Russia, I would actually, with this garden project that I'm doing, I think it will still benefit, for example, somebody here. I could hand it over to some family member and they could, get the results from it, like vegetables and stuff. So it's still no, no loss on that. As well, I will keep, for example, my placement here in Sweden that I have, even if I would go to Russia. But I'm just looking for some form of opportunities, and I feel like I'm stuck in Sweden. Like there's no forward, there's nothing here, I really admire people, especially women who live in Saudi Arabia, because I think they have a lot of options there, as a woman. They can actually go travel, they can actually live in the society, they can exit from their homes, like go out and actually even start businesses. And I think it's more common there nowadays. But here in Sweden, it's very rare to see women start their own business. And even to leave the house, And that might sound strange, but I think that is the case. I think that is the case. So, yeah, no jobs. I think at this point, I applied for around 200 job applications since beginning of November. And on those 200 job applications, I had 0 result. So I'm most likely gonna be jobless for quite some time here in Sweden. And I honestly am quite willing to find a job, but it's just there is no. So I don't know. But I think now, because I feel like I don't get anywhere here, it's just like, it's like being next to a wall forward, like a beton wall, trying to kind of get somewhere through or rise or anything. There is no way to do anything here. I feel stuck, to say the least. No jobs, no response on any of the job applications I made. And there is just nothing to do here, to be honest. In Sweden, like, there's no events, there's no, like, stuff, to do. So I just feel it's very boring, to be honest. But I really think what I'm gonna be doing ahead is potentially I will maybe, I'm telling you, I have this on my mind that I want to go to this Acropolis in Greece, in Athens, and just to see it for some unknown reason. I don't know why I want to go there, but I do want to go there. I want to see it and just feel in the energy in that place, And then I kind of want to go to Russia. That's kind of what I want to do. because I would like to have the experience in my life to live in a bigger city. And I don't see myself going to the US at all. I think, the US, they have like a policy, no immigrants. So for me, I'm an immigrant. I'm like a no to that country, and I don't mind. I'm thankfully going to stay outside the United States of America. So let's talk about something else. So what is my take on Greenland? Now, I think when it concerns, lately there have been a lot of drama about Greenland in the media, and Greenland is some form of colony, I don't know, to Denmark, or Denmark say it's their territory. So it has been that way for quite some time. It's also quite significant, it belongs kind of to Europe. And now Donald Trump wants to, how do you say, acquire and have Greenland as part of the United States of America. And I think it's kind of funny in a way, because there is like two very different narratives in this kind of situation. For example, Donald Trump, he is businessman, and he have his record in business. He's very like, he put the standard, like the whatever he's proposing as a deal, he put it very high, and he expect his, business partner to kind of also come with an offer on as a response to what he is saying. And in regards to Denmark, they only have kind of said fuck off. And I think that is not really smart in any way by Denmark in this kind of situation. And I think either for EU and the Union, it's not either smart to have this kind of comment from Denmark to just fuck off. I think what would have been smart from Denmark to actually offer, since, Donald Trump, he's a businessman, he's now leader of one of the biggest countries and most important in the world, apparently. But I mean, what would have been smart from Denmark to actually say in the situation, from my perspective? I think Denmark, when Donald Trump said that he wants to acquire Greenland, he wants to buy Greenland, or he just wanted to take it, basically, I think Denmark should have said that, okay, we understand your stance. We are willing to go this far in terms of like have some kind of defense alliance with the United States about Greenland. Now, I think Denmark actually failed on this, because I think US already have kind of had agreement with Denmark that Denmark must have their own kind of defense of Greenland, and they haven't really been doing that, as far as I read in the media. But I think that honestly, in this situation, it's not about what Denmark have done in the past. It's about where they are right now, and I think they could have maybe proposed to Donald Trump to kind of have an alliance together with the US to defend Greenland together, to kind of use Denmark's long-standing presence in Greenland to kind of help. Maybe there's some help in that, actually, to kind of defend the Greenland. The fact that Denmark have had kind of access to the areas and I don't know what, that they also are able to defend together with the US, because then they have maybe more, maybe there's something more to that, And also, I think because there's a lot of minerals or resources, natural resources on Greenland, I think Denmark should have understood that US is interested in these resources. Instead of saying fuck off, I think they should have said like, okay, we are willing to look into open some mines that we want to sell the the produce or the stuff in there to US, that they want to sell, that they don't want to hand it over, they want to sell the products from the mine and also benefit the people on the Greenland. I think right now the people in Greenland they are kind of in between, and also there are other parties kind of also paying attention to all this. And I don't know how much. I think Denmark's strategy, to be honest, is to kind of have this whole talk about Greenland just to die down. That they hope that Donald Trump is not going to say anything more about it and will not go ahead and do anything about it. But I think at that phone call that Donald Trump and Denmark's prime minister had, I think they should not just have said they don't want to sell it, they don't want to do anything. I think they should, unless they did it, I don't even know. But I'm just saying, I think they should have proposed some kind of deal together with the US, because they must realize somewhere that they are not able to do anything to prevent US from actually taking Greenland. They are in a position, they don't have any connection with Russia, which they should have, then maybe there would be a change in this whole situation. But I think because Denmark is alone, kind of with the EU in their background, I think they should have made a deal with the US to kind of work together with the defense of Greenland, because Denmark they have a long-standing presence in Greenland. I think that is kind of valuable at some point, like to some extent actually. And also with the mining, extract minerals, I think there is always a possibility that US might can buy it, or they can make a deal, but they don't have to hand it over the entire island. That sounds very strange idea, to just hand over the entire territory. I think I don't know. I think Donald Trump put a offer or like a deal high up, and then he expect Denmark to come with a very elaborated kind of answer that, okay, we can agree to this, or this is what we can come up with, but not just to say fuck off, because that is like, I think US is in far more position to just run over that kind of comment. So that's what I think about that. Also, I've been very happy for the people in Gaza. I've been very happy for the hostages that's been freed, both Palestinians and Israelis. I think everybody deserves to be, just living and breathing outside a prison. But I'm very happy for the people of Gaza who is now able to return to their homes, even if they are not standing as they used to do. Hold on. And I heard a comment that Donald Trump said something about like, oh, there's gonna be a clean out of entire Gaza and all these people just gonna go to another country nearby. And you know something? Regardless of what Donald Trump says, people of Palestine, they are such that their soul is tied to the ground. And their soul tied to the ground is not gonna leave from there, It's gonna stay there. They will be there until the last soul is left. They are not, like they are not leaving unless they are dying or dead, So, and I think there's no purpose to kill them. There's no purpose to kill anybody, So what could they actually make out of this situation? I think Palestinians, as far as I know, because I had some friends who were Palestinians. I've been to the West Bank. I've been to Jerusalem. I've been around there. I've been to Jordan. I've been to Egypt. I never went to Lebanon, but I went to Jordan and Egypt, and I went to West Bank and Jerusalem. And my experience, I went to Tel Aviv as well and the old Jaffa. My experience is that there is nobody else that have this connection to the ground as Palestinians do. Like, obviously Jewish people who living in Israel, they feel like it's their state, this is what they built, and they're gonna remain. So I just feel like, if there is a situation like this, you have two kind of groups of people, they just want to stay where they are, and one of them has a lot of external support, and the other one is kind of oppressed by this other group with more resources. I think for this group that have this kind of all other resources like Israel do, I think they should kind of look into how can they use this situation actually to benefit them in this. And I think Palestinians, they must be very clear on what it is they want, and they are clear. They say they just want to live on their land, and that's what they want to do. They don't want to leave, they want to live there and live their best life and on that soil. And I think it's a good thing, because if you look at it, these people, Palestinians, they have good morals, to be honest. You look at how they treated the hostage from Israel, they have very good ethical standards. If you look at how they kind of deal with their family matters and business and other kind of art and, education and how they prioritize things, I think it's kind of good ethics, to be honest. They are not just doing drugs and drinking alcohol and failing on everything. They actually try to do something. And since Israel is obviously knowing exactly most things about Palestinians, they're doing surveillance of them, they have a lot of intelligence, information about Palestinians, I think many people in Israel should realize that this is a good group of people to actually have as some form of defense for Israel. Like, I think Palestinians could defend Israel. I think they could do and be probably the most ethical and morally correct forms of soldiers for Israel there could possibly be. And I think, okay, it might sound controversial to some of you, but if you, for example, think about it. Palestinians want to live on their land, and Israel is very concerned with their defense. It's difficult to find Jewish people who wants to sacrifice their whole life to defend Israel, because obviously there comes a lot of sacrifices in it. And I think there is no real clash between these two groups, because okay, both of them want to live on the soil. That's one thing. But Israel and Jewish people are doing it. They are living there, but they are also in the need of defense. But I think Palestinians are not really something they need to defend themselves against. I think Palestinians, they are happy and totally fine kind of sticking to their own kind of nation, and to have relations in between them and kind of figure out healthcare, police, stuff like this for their group. But I think that as a deal to solving stuff, I think Israel should agree to have Palestinians living on the soil in some areas, and in return Palestinians, because I know Palestinians are the oppressed, and they are very, I'm telling you, their souls are resistance. So they are strong, and I think Israel should utilize the fact that they are strong in their soul about what they kind of care about staying on that land. I think in return for having Palestinians staying on the ground, I think Israel should use them as soldiers to defend Israel against maybe something external. Because at the end of the day, I don't think Palestinians are interested killing Israelis. I don't think they want to harm them. I honestly just think their priority is to live on the ground. And I think Israel could figure out some way to have them living there without having to face, kind of terror or something like this. And I think in return for having these very morally and ethically kind of right, correct people who actually really are going to sacrifice their soul to stay on the ground, they would be perfect soldiers for Israel in whatever will come in the future, I think Israel should employ Palestinians as soldiers to defend Israel, and in return let them live, do whatever they want in their society in, for example, Gaza and West Bank and wherever they live. I mean, I know Palestine, they want to have their own state. Israel obviously want to expand, have big state. I think the solution in between here is honestly to make the best out of the situation. And I think there is enough land for everybody there. So Palestinians could live somewhere and in return provide defense and security for Israel people. They, like Palestinians, could defend Israelis. And that means that no Israelis would need to defend Israel. They would use Palestinians to defend them. Because I think Palestinians would be willing to defend Israelis if in return they are allowed to live on the land, grow their olive trees, have their, celebrations and parties and, like live, make an income and all these things. I think they would be fine with it. I never heard this proposal anywhere. The only thing I have heard in this whole drama is that they must have two different states. But I think there is no, like, you cannot, at this point, I don't even think you can divide Israel from Palestinians, because they have sort of interacted over, is it like 75 years together? Even if they've been kind of enemies to each other, as they might want to say. But I think there is something to this that is positive for Israelis, because Palestinians are very much willing to defend, to live there, and in return to live there, they could probably defend Israelis if that defense of Israelis would mean that Palestinians get to live on the land. And that means, like, maybe Israelis don't have to invest their whole population into defense for themselves. They could actually have, like, Palestinians defending Israel population, and in return allowing Palestinians to live their life there somewhere. At least from my perspective, the smartest thing out there would be, if you look at any photo from Gaza these days, like in social media, you see these people, they are just like, they have gone through hell, they had their homes bombed, they had their, they were displaced maybe 7-10 times, they lost their legs, they didn't have food, they were starving, they were tortured by Israeli soldiers, they were, living in a tent, they were freezing, they were without water, they were, listening to the bombs falling from the heaven. They went through a lot of hell, you know, and yet they are saying we are resistant and we will stay on the soil, basically. After all this, they will stay on the soil until the last soul have been burnt out. And I think because of that, there's no point to do more killing from Israel perspective, to be honest. Because these people, Palestinians, they are perfect soldiers, and I think Israel should make use of that, because there is nowhere in the world that you can find an army of so many humans and generations to come that is going to be that, you know, strong and like fit for defense as the Palestinians are. And Israel should make use of that and ask Palestinians to defend Israel in return to get to live on a piece of land where Palestinians can do whatever they want, but they must defend Israel against anything. And then people in Israel, like the Jewish population, they could just focus on living. They would not need to spend their whole young age in some kind of military facility. They could just live, you know. Instead, Palestinian young people could do that, and by their heart and moral and ethics, they would be loyal to defend Israel. I think so. If they only get to live on a piece of land, you know? And if you look at the future, there's a lot of threats. There is a lot of threats to anybody. There is the AI, there is the climate change, there is other countries, and I don't know what. So that's what I think. And by the way, the Swedish security advisor, he was fired, or he kind of stepped down from his position because of his past actions, so he's not there anymore. You know, I think nobody from Denmark is as strong as Palestinians are, because in Denmark nobody is gonna defend Greenland. The only way they can get out of it is to make a business deal with US, you know. Otherwise US is gonna take Greenland either way. But I think, for example, Sweden, NATO, any kind of defense organization, they would die to have Palestinian soldiers in their army, because Palestinians, they are true to their heart, they are loyal, they are on the right with the ethics, and even if they suffer, they will still defend until their last breath. And these type of people, they would really be of value for Israel. I think Israel should use this population for defense. And as I said, in return, allow them to live somewhere, you know. It doesn't take a lot, you know, because Israel doesn't even need to bother about it. Because Israel have a lot of bombs and stuff from the US. So, but you need to have stuff that is willing to be loyal soldiers at the end of the day. And I think Palestinians would be that for Israel if Palestinians get somewhere to live on the piece of land. Then they would defend Israelis, and Israelis would have the best army in the world. I don't know if that is something they ever will think of, but that's the only thing I think when I see Palestinians. Like, these people, they make up the best army that Israel ever could find. And that's why I want to say it. And that's why I wanted to say it, So yeah, I think I will probably be doing a few more ASMR videos, and I will be updating maybe a bit about how the seedlings and stuff is going, like how they are progressing. And then I am thinking if I'm gonna go travel maybe February. So I'm kind of, as I said, I would have liked to go to this Acropolis, but it's like a museum, to be honest. But I don't know. I looked at flights. It's kind of difficult because you have to fly to Istanbul and then fly over there. So I don't know if it makes no sense to fly to Istanbul and then to there. I would have liked to take a direct flight from Sweden to Athens, but they don't have super good connection in January and February. So I will see. I really will see. But I'm looking forward to just go to the beach. I just, be on the beach somewhere. As a tourist, And then I would also like to go to Russia. For the cities, like these bustling kinds of cities that they have actually. Like St. Petersburg and other cities. So yeah. There's a lot of tourists, by the way, coming to Sweden. There's a lot of Airbnbs coming to Sweden, to my location. And I think that is great, It's great. I think I'm gonna end here because I'm not gonna save some of this salad for tomorrow. That is a very good salad. Very simple. Still very good. So I'm going to wish you the best of luck in whatever you will be doing after this video. As long as it is legal,